Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, Port Royal Gaming, and today another video. We are on the Tiermaker list, and we're going to do something just a bit different. So joining me in the studio today, you've got Zion and TJ. Welcome to the show. So, what we're going to be doing is, as you can see from the top banner, we're going to be just going through our top 10 video games at the time of filming.
Yes, not final list. This thing changes like every day for us, probably.
For him, maybe.
Probably, yeah. And there's a bit of an order to them, but yeah, like I said, it could switch at any point. So this is just current moment, how we're feeling.
How we can think while we put this video together. So, TJ, welcome to the show. You've been playing online with our parties, a couple of shows already on Monday night, my show, and some of the gamepads. So
Yes, I probably swear a lot on Fortnite, and I apologise.
that's
It's very frustrating.
our channel. It does that to you. So today, what we're going to do, a bit of a format to it. So we've got 10 video games that we've got on our lists, and we're just going to go through them in sort of a Tiermaker format. So you can see from the screen there, this is the list that we've got. So it's a list of all of our top 10. So there's 30 up there. So as each, if we come across each game, we're just going to put it into our list, have a bit of a discussion about it. And I guess left to right, so 10, 9, 8, 7, so forth. When we do place it, obviously they're all out of order so far. But first, before we get to that, this is only a top 10 list, but as you know, some things can't make the list. So we thought we'd just go through roundtable discussion about some of our honourable mentions that almost made the list, but didn't get there in the end.
Couldn't make the list.
I'll start with one of mine. It was a late edition before I put this together. That is this game, Kingdom Hearts. I remember playing this back on the PlayStation 2. I currently am again playing through it. I've got the remasters. So they hold up pretty well. I didn't realise how many Kingdom Hearts there are. I mean, this collection has Kingdom Hearts 2, Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, Birth by Sleep, Kingdom Hearts Recoded, Kingdom Hearts 358/2 Days.
It's a confusing series.
And then there's another one that adds like other chapters in the, I think it's a 3DS version of it.
Yeah, there was a 3DS.
Puts it on this.
Yeah.
And then of course there's Chain of Melodies or something like that. But that's one of my games that didn't make the list. What some of your guys got?
Well,
You guys games.
I've got about I've got more than 10 honourable mentions because I just couldn't not. So I'll start from the top of my list. It kind of breaks my heart enough to put this on the top 10 because I love this game so much. But I've got Banjo Kazooie for the Nintendo 64. Probably the closest game to come close to Mario 64 on the console, I reckon. What about you?
The first game that pops up on mine is Mortal Kombat. Now, this game, I believe, was very close to my top 10. It's a very revolutionary fighting game that people loved.
Are you talking about
The first one.
Yeah.
The very first one. Yeah. It brought a lot of adults to fighting games.
Another one of my games, fond memories of this, being a WWE fan. SmackDown vs Raw, I'm going to go 2006.
That was fun. That was a fun game.
Yeah, fun. That's many hours spent in this game and the entire series, but if I had to put on a list, probably 2006 is when the series really started to pick up, and I have fond memories of 06 in particular, so yeah, that's another one of mine.
Next game on my list. This, I'm going to say it for every game here that it hurt not to put in the top 10, but this one especially, because it's Mario Kart 64, which I've put so many hours into. It's like one of the games that all three of us have played together for like over a decade. I don't know how. Oh god, I'm just going to stop talking about it because.
Yeah, well, the second one on my list is Jedi Knight Jedi Academy. I didn't realise how hard it was. Like, I forgot. It was a very difficult game to play. But yeah, the multiplayer mode on it was very fun.
I'll back you up on that. If you look on our channel, there's a playthrough of Star Wars Jedi Academy. Just skip through all the times that I've died in that and restarted. Checkpoints were non-existent back then. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of manual saves as you play through the game, which you'll see on the channel. But eventually got there in the end. The full playthroughs on the channel. Another one for me that sort of hurt keeping it off is I don't know which, but I'm going to put all through because there's honourable mentions. The trilogy, the HD trilogy. Very fond memories of this one in particular, Vice City.
Yeah.
One of the best soundtracks in video games of all time. And then, of course, San Andreas took that and took it to another level. So those two are probably the better of the three that I thought. But yeah, the GTA HD trilogy for me.
Well, I'll keep it rolling with GTA because my next honorable mention is GTA 5. I beat the story pretty recently because it's been out for nearly 10 years at this point, and I only really got to play through it about a year or two ago is when I first started playing it. And yeah, the story is really good. The online is fun when it sometimes it can be a little
Trolling.
yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that sometimes, but yeah, I mean I'm still playing it to this day.
It's fun.
Yeah, GTA 5.
Yeah, my next one's Crash Bandicoot. I remember playing this when I was a kid on the first PlayStation, and yeah, very fun, very fun.
Alright, another game to my list. So being a huge fan of the rugby league, so I'm going to put this one on. I've got really good memories of Rugby League 2. Yeah, I modded the crap out of this on PC, and then they came in with the World Cup edition. So, if I, as a fan of Rugby League, this was everything to have a video game based on it. Era that they made games about the NBA, FIFA, and all that. Us league fans got their own games, so good memories of it. Would have made a top 10, but it's just it was brought out 2004, 2005, so there's been so many more games out that surpasses it, so that's for me.
My next game that's an honourable mention, Final Fight, which is like a side-scrolling beat-em-up game that Capcom made back in I think it was 89 it came out, so it's actually like a pretty early game. But yeah, I know it's just a game I really enjoy, it's fun. All the characters wound up in Street Fighter and it's all linked that sort of way, so yeah, nothing else really I can say about it.
My next honorable mention is The Simpsons Road Rage. It's a highlight of my childhood, and yeah, it makes you very competitive, and I loved it. Very fun.
I used to play the Game Boy Advance version of it.
Yeah.
I got it off my cousin's once. It was weird.
Another honourable mention for me is the video game Fallout 4. The Wasteland, as we used to call it by. Very shout-outs to you, Roy. Immersive gameplay, big storyline. Just the overall setting, being in a post-apocalyptic world, the fallout of a nuclear bomb, and just the many quests and the stories and characters in it. So, Fallout 4 goes on my honourable mentions. Just really, I think that probably would have been number 11, really. So, yeah.
My next one I had to put in because, it's a Zelda game, I'll just say that, and spoilers, I've already got some Zelda games on my list, so this is Twilight Princess. I think it's my third favourite of the big 3D Zelda games. I just think it's just the whole vibe, the soundtrack, it's all real different, it's got a dark tone to it, and I played through it twice, the Wii version and the HD Wii version, so yeah, Twilight Princess.
Yeah, my last one is Ratchet and Clank, the remastered version. Yeah, that game was very lengthy. It takes a lot of man hours, and you'll just have fun for days. And yeah, that was one of my other childhood memories. It's a core memory of mine growing up. Yeah.
That one is actually on the PlayStation Plus store, so free to cash in if you're a member of PlayStation Plus. I may have gone blank with what I was going to add. Oh, going off Zelda. The Wind Waker HD. That was... No, I played a lot of Zelda games, but to play it in full and finished, it's very few. So, the Wind Waker... At first thought I was a bit skeptical of it. I actually played the HD remaster on the Wii U. And yeah, loved it. Loved every part of it. So, Wind Waker HD goes on for me. And I think that probably would round out my honourable mentions.
Unfortunately, I've still got another 6 here, so
Yep.
I'll race through them.
Just say them.
Mortal Kombat 2. It's my favourite Mortal Kombat game, and I'm a big fan of Mortal Kombat. Sonic Mania Plus, which was the upgraded edition of Sonic Mania. It's like the best 2D Sonic game in my opinion. Star Wars Shadows of the Empire, N64 game. Yeah, probably my favourite Star Wars game, just off of personal experience. Super Mario 64. Surprised this one didn't make the cut, honestly, but I've got another game which is kind of in its place. The original F-Zero for the Super Nintendo. Big fan of F-Zero, even though if we never see another game from him again, at least we've got the ones we do. And finally, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4, because big fan of the original Pro Skater games, and I think 4 is my favourite.
So I think for me also, there's a few honourable mentions, but they're on some of you guys' lists, so I'm going to just mention that as we get to it. And you know, we can probably think of all these other games, but you know, let's move on now. So let's get to the reason that we are here on this video, our top 10 video game lists of all time. So we'll go from the start, I guess. So like I said, we'll just go through game by game. If you guys have, well, first we'll identify who has it on their list, and as the list fills up, then that's when the positioning will come into play, if you can. So my first game, WWE 2K19. I think this is probably the best of the current gen, well, last gen now, of the WWE games. It definitely held the fort after 2K20 came out, which was an absolute train wreck, which means an extended time with WWE 2K19.
Bad.
Yeah, I'm just saying glitchy, buggy, bad 2K20, which means that this game had to hold the fort for 3 years.
They kept the servers up for the online services for this game longer than 20 because people just
Because it's
didn't
so
play it.
trash.
Yeah,
Wow.
people were just stuck with this game.
Basically unfinished, and well, you know, 2K19 was the pinnacle. It introduced a lot of the 2K, what do you call it, the showcase and all that. Had some pretty good DLC added to it, and the customization obviously was at its height. So yeah, definitely 2K19 goes on my list for that. Where is it now? Alright, next up we've got Super Mario All-Stars for the SNES. So we're going to just sort as we go on, we'll just add it to the list there. So
Yeah. So I remember this game being very hard to play and complete. It has worlds upon worlds and levels, a mountain of levels.
It's
And,
like 4 games in one.
Yeah, it's 4 games in one. And
We've
and you
all
can
been
play with other people, and it takes a lot of man hours to actually complete it, and that's what I loved about it. That you could just come back to it, kill time. It was really fun.
and for a lot of people, you know, this is the only Mario game that we had back in the day on the SNES.
Yes.
So to have a compilation like that,
Yeah.
that's where a lot of the, you know, I guess the nostalgia comes from it.
Yeah, we've all got a bit of experience with that one.
Very nostalgic.
The book. I thought I had the actual physical copy that was released on the Wii, if you remember that one. I think you've still got it, don't you?
I do, yeah.
I have no idea what happened to mine, but I've still got the little soundtrack CD that came with it. So, Super Mario All Stars. Next up, Mercenaries. So that's on my list. That one goes ahead of 2K19. Mercenaries Playground of Destruction. So it was released in 2005, a LucasArts game made by Pandemic, famous for the Battlefront games of the time. So basically you're thrown into a war in North Korea as a mercenary looking to cash in on a bit of money. And yeah, it's basically that. You're in a playground of destruction. It's open world. You're tasked with taking down, you know, beat North Korean leaders for money, with the ultimate goal of taking down the regime in itself. Being a LucasArts game, the cool thing, you can unlock Han Solo and Indiana Jones to play as.
North Korea if I
But
Banned.
yeah, I
They
don't
were
think
banned.
it ever got a North Korea release. But definitely got a release here. I'm glad for it. So that's Mercenaries Playground and Destruction. Hopefully to get a playthrough of that on the channel at some point. Next up, Ultimate.
Yeah, we both got that. Zion and myself.
Actually,
Oh, sorry, Patrick and myself.
unfortunately.
So,
Not on my list.
Ultimate,
You're melee, right?
for me, it goes here. Are you ranking your list?
If I am, yeah, it goes up in front of All Stars.
Yep, so, yeah. Talk about Ultimate.
Oh, so this is how we're doing it.
Yeah, so it's the list will our ranking will sort of reveal itself. So the
Yeah.
games are there. Not, they don't know our rankings yet.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, Ultimate, the latest release in the Smash Bros series. I don't have got to see the gameplay on the disc, but yeah, we all play Ultimate here.
Yep.
Sister channel, Port Royal Smash, part of the Port Royal network. So tell us about Ultimate, like.
It's,
What does it say?
It's not my favourite Smash game, but I can't lie. It probably is the best overall Smash game by far. Biggest roster, biggest stage list, the music. There's nothing else you can really say about Smash because everyone knows what it is at this point, and we've all put like collectively hundreds of hours,
Yeah.
hundreds and hundreds of hours into this game. So yeah, it's Smash. That's all you can say.
It would be
Also,
interesting
it's
to bring up the
graphics,
Switch to see how much actually hours that's on
Yes.
the Switch here, at least for the network. You were saying about the graphics.
Yeah, the graphics to me is like amazing, and the feedback and how fast you can move. I really like that about the game.
Really responsive. Definitely sped
Very
it up
responsive.
from Wii U
And Brawl.
and Brawl. Definitely from Brawl. But the amount of characters you said, like the added characters, so it features the entire playing
The entire roster,
Roster.
from all the previous games.
plus more. So
What's more?
Plus, like, just the fact that some of the guest characters that are in this game is pretty ridiculous. Like, characters you never thought you'd see in a Nintendo game.
the last DLC character revealed was Sora of the Kingdom Hearts series, so that was pretty good for me.
Disney got into Smash.
Yeah, so that's Smash Bros Ultimate.
Probably the biggest crossover game of all time.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I'd say so.
Definitely.
The amount of, if you're just counting every single like reference, like song, sticker, character.
Trophies.
Yeah.
And the thing too, the developers, they definitely tried to keep the characters from what game they're coming over to try and capture that sort of gameplay behind it. So definitely the biggest crossover game of all time, and definitely the most ultimate Smash Bros game. KOTOR, Knights of the Old Republic, which is right here for me. I'm putting this on my list up here. I can't say too much because you want to play this game at some point.
Yes, I do.
And
I own it, and haven't even played it yet.
yeah, so I won't go into too much detail. Plus, there is a playthrough going on at the moment on the channel. I am playing through this game on the Switch version. The episodes have been a bit slow to release, but I'll get there eventually. So basically, you're thrown into the Star Wars world set thousands and thousands of years before the movies. 4,000 to be exact, it says on it. So it's at the height of the Jedi, and of course the height of the Sith as well. So you've just got to navigate your way through the galaxy and be witness to the story of the game. Moving on. Oh, looks like my list continues. I've got Uncharted 4.
I'm yet to be on the score.
Should we go from that way next?
So that goes here. Uncharted 4 PS exclusive. So yeah, this game came out 19, I think it was, maybe 17 or 18. But it's definitely the culmination of the Nathan Drake series, which started back in the PS3 era. So all that's it actually builds up from Uncharted 1, 2, 3, right up to 4th. And the graphical power that this game possesses is incredible. Naughty Dog did such a wonderful job in making this game look visually stunning. It's got a really good storyline, which some of the elements of this game was adapted into the theatrical movie adaptation. But hands down, this Uncharted 4 is one of the best action adventure games that I've played. Definitely the height of its genre, of its type of game. So Uncharted 4. Super Mario Odyssey.
That would be my first addition to my list.
So that just drops there for now.
Mario Odyssey. It's still my favourite game that I've played in the last 5 years, because I think in 2017 it came out, and I think it's still my favourite Mario game as well too. And I've played a lot of them. You know, big Nintendo fan here, but Mario Odyssey was just a whole different level. There are some slight criticisms people have with the game. You know, the amount of moons that are in the game, how easy some of them are to find, how random some of them are. But just some of the levels, like New Donk City, you're running around like a real life city with humans. It's like, what the hell? You haven't seen that in Mario before, literally ever. You've got Return of Pauline as a character. The fact that they sort of keep some sort of continuation from Donkey Kong way back in the arcade. But and yeah, it's the story is whatever, you know. It's a Mario game. Bowser kidnaps Peach, but some of the levels, especially some of the end game levels, are pretty spectacular. So yeah, Mario Odyssey.
Yeah.
Absolutely love that game.
I've got that. I played a bit of it, not as much as I want to, but definitely want to get into it a bit more. So that's Odyssey. Next up, Hyper Street Fighter 2.
Hyper Street Fighter 2, yes. So that's my list as well. Below Odyssey.
It
Because,
goes
yeah, we've actually
like
got
that, or
Nice.
if we're going,
so 10, 9, 8. So
okay, yeah, so
10
before
starts here.
Odyssey is in front of it.
So, well,
Yeah.
there we go.
So there it is. Big Street Fighter fan. This is my favourite Street Fighter game. But what's special about this version in particular, Hyper, is that you know, there's tons of different versions of Street Fighter 2. It's just how Capcom released them back in the day, where you had the original version came out, then they released a version where you could play as the boss characters, then they sped it up, then they added more characters, so on and so on. And Hyper Street Fighter 2 lets you pick any version of that specific character. So it's like you pick Ryu, you can pick whatever version you want of him. And it's same goes with like the music and stuff in this game. You can set it to whatever revision of it you want. Yeah, it's basically the ultimate way to play Street Fighter 2, and it's got the movie on here as well. So the Street Fighter 2 animated movie, which is a sick movie, one of my favourites.
Alright, next up, GTA San Andreas.
Yes, that one's mine.
Yep.
I would put that behind Super Smash. Yes.
There we go.
Actually, maybe behind All Stars as well. Yeah.
I'm gonna go from there. There we go.
Yeah.
So yeah, San Andreas.
Yeah, all I remember from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas was all the cheat codes that you could do. There was a long list of fun things that you could do on that game that you can't do in any of the other Grand Theft Auto. And that was, yeah, solely based on the cheat codes, but also the storyline is really good as well.
Probably
Yes.
had a bunch of pieces of papers with all the cheat codes written down on it
Yes.
somewhere.
And then if you did enough times, you just remember it. Wow.
I think everybody had that list as well, but I guess to go on that, just the amount of fun you can have in this game.
Yeah.
There's so much to do in it.
And you could even do multiplayer. I think if you find the person icon,
Yeah,
yeah, you could do multiplayer.
I know there's one in Fort Carson in the Los Venturas region, and it wasn't the best one. It was just a sort of a camera down multiplayer, but just having that in the game is pretty fun. Bigger map
Yeah, the map was huge.
for the time. I mean, it sort of shrunk a bit when you play the remastered one, and unfortunately,
Especially the initial release of it, where
yeah.
you can see the whole map.
Yes, you climb on top of the tower, and then there's Los Venturas right there. When I remember it being so far away, but there's no denying this game was fun and pretty well put together.
Yeah.
Burnout 3 Takedown.
That would be my next game. That one goes at the back of my list so far. But yeah, Burnout 3. I think it's a perfect racing game. Like combat-based racing is sometimes done right. I think Burnout does it perfectly. Takedowns are just so satisfying. The crash mode is just like chaotic. It's actually a pretty fast game too. You wouldn't think it, but some of the later cars you get in the game and some of the races actually do get quite difficult and fast. And that soundtrack too. I can't not mention the soundtrack. Probably shaped the music I listen to today. Actually, a lot of the songs that are on that game I still listen to, like on my playlists and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, big impact that game had on me.
Yeah, I remember coming over your place every afternoon playing it. It was very fun. Yeah.
Just want to backtrack a bit. Going back to my honourable mentions, you bring up a good point about the soundtrack. That's like, I guess one thing I'll put to the SmackDown versus Raw series. It definitely broadened the music genres.
And if we're also doing this, I should add the Tony Hawk series as well.
Yeah, just because you put so much hours into the game, so the soundtrack becomes embedded in your brain, and
yep,
it just broadens it. So that's just backtracking to the honourable mentions. But yeah, anything else to add for Burnout?
No.
Next up, Marvel Spider-Man for the PS4.
PS4.
That's on my list. I've just got to look at my list ordering here because so this is the one that goes. So confused right now. There we go. It sits right there. Marvel Spider-Man is the remarkable game that was made by Insomniac Games. Yeah, it's a open world in New York City. You swing around with some really good responsive swinging gameplay, I guess, and all the usual Spider-Man villains pop up. So it's set sort of like, so you know how games these days are that are open world, you're different regions or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much how this one is. So each borough is broken up, and you've just got to try and free the borough, I guess. But there is a main storyline, which, you know, characters like the Rhino, the Goblin, Prowler, they're all in it.
I actually want to play that. I just have a question. Like, how does the CGI, the graphics, right?
The graphics are amazing.
Interesting.
It just looks like it is a beautiful game to look at. Like, the frame rate also holds it up pretty well as well. So yeah, that's Marvel Spider-Man. There, the sequel, which is sort of like an add-on thing, but the sequel, Miles Morales, just builds on that. Obviously, you play as Miles. It's one of the PS5 launches. So I have played through that one as well. It's more, it could be classed as a DLC almost, but it's a bit longer than what a DLC usually be. But anyway, I digress. But yeah, Marvel Spider-Man, probably one of the best superhero games that I've played on there. And, you know, now that I think about this, there's an honourable mention that I left off. Now that I think about superhero games, is obviously Batman Arkham City, which I should have mentioned at the start of this video, but anyway. Moving on. Looks like it's me again. Mass Effect 2, which sits up here. So, Mass Effect, it's a trilogy of games that was released the 360 era. Sci-fi, it reminds me a lot of like that Star Wars adventurous type. A bit more leaning towards this, look, I'm not a fan of Star Trek hugely, but it's sort of grounded in that realism through Star Trek. But yeah, it's a massive RPG game, good story mode to it. The choices that you make throughout the game, like any good RPGs these days, affects the ending. So yeah, it's just full of content, and it's probably the peak of the trilogy. Mass Effect 3 sort of, I see it as like the Star Wars trilogy. So you had Mass Effect coming out, then Mass Effect 2, which is the Empire of it, and then, you know, Mass Effect 3 is the Return of the Jedi, which is still good, but number 2 definitely trumps it. The latest release of that is Mass Effect Andromeda, which is absolute garbage, but we won't go there. So that's Mass Effect 2. The reason I like it is, good game. Halo Combat Evolved.
Yes, that's mine. I would put it in front of Super Mario All Stars, but behind. Yes.
Yeah, Halo.
Halo was a very, very fun game. When it first came out, I thought the graphics was insane, and the storyline is absolutely amazing. If you ever play it, definitely you'll love it. A lot of man hours would go into it, but also one of the highlights of the game is definitely playing multiplayer with someone. I'm pretty sure you can play online. Even though I've never played online on that game, but pretty sure you used to be able to.
I think that was one of the big selling points of the game when it came out, was that Xbox Live was this brand new flashy thing.
Definitely down-patting the multiplayer, and it spawned a franchise. I mean, Halo is still a franchise right now. It's now got its own Paramount Plus show.
Just saw a release the last year or so.
Yep, and it's even the latest Halo
Infinite.
Yes.
Just dropped as well recently. So it's the spin-off series. So it's got a bunch of spin-offs. So.
And they've even remastered it as well, which is pretty cool.
That's right, the Master Chief Collection, which is a collection of that and all the other games following it. So
And a lot of people will say that game was the reason to pick up an Xbox back in 2001.
Yes, definitely.
Definitely just shows how good a game is. If it can sell a console, people will buy the console for the game, and that's how good it is. Halo, that's Combat Evolved. And next on the list is COD 4 Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4.
I would put that in front of all those. Oh no, put Smash in front of Call of Duty. Yes.
Hanging on.
Okay.
This game was definitely a series highlight. I'd say it's the best COD of all time. I feel like the future games went a bit off track, and I don't know, the story just doesn't make any sense to me.
The focus kind of shifts all over the place.
Yeah,
what they
so
do now.
I would say this is an indisputable classic for sure, and definitely a masterpiece. From the map design to just the general gameplay altogether, it was very revolutionary in its time.
Definitely, when you consider the COD games were set back in World War II, right up to Call of Duty 3. So when COD 4 had the promise of modern warfare, we're going to bring the series up to modern times, then that was definitely a highlight. But yes, I agree with you when you said that the newer games definitely go a bit off track in terms of just going a bit out of there. When you have a Call of Duty set in space, then I think that's too far.
Yeah, I remember that reveal when that trailer first dropped. The video had I can't remember what it was. It was like 500,000 dislikes or something. It just got bombed.
This game was remastered and re-released a couple of years ago now, so I think the sequel Modern Warfare 2 is getting another remaster and re-release, which was announced just recently. So that's just a testament to how good this game was, I guess. Oh, what have we got next? The Last of Us. That goes for me. So this one comes all the way up here. I mean, The Last of Us is a very highly acclaimed video game, often up there when the list of video games of all time. It's definitely high on the charts for a lot of people and a lot of companies. But The Last of Us Part 1, which is The Last of Us, it's a very heavily story-driven sort of thriller post-apocalyptic game, playing as Joel as he guides Ellie through a rundown zombie-infested America, trying to get her. Do you guys care about spoilers?
I I mean, it's
I actually really want to play it.
Okay,
it's
well-
a game we've considered playing, but seeing that we never had a PS3 back in the day, and I still don't have a PlayStation, so it's like,
Okay, well, what I'll do is I'll stop my talk about the narrative there and say that this game is a visually stunning game made by Naughty Dogs. It was released for the PS3, as you said. It was remastered and re-released for the PS4, which is when I first played it, once I got my PS4. And yeah, the game, the story, it's just... Like, when you watch the cutscenes, it's like you're watching like an A-list Hollywood production, like the voice acting and the story and the music and everything. It's just, yeah. That's my number one, just so you guys know.
Oh.
That's the number one. That game, when I played that through, I didn't want to put it down. And it's probably the best video game experience I've ever had playing games. The Last of Us.
I think I'm gonna reshuffle my order.
Yep.
I know,
Well-
I'm really thinking about this now. I want Smash Brothers behind All Stars in front of Grand Theft Auto. Yes.
What we can also do too, once we put them all on the list, you probably would find that
Yeah,
it's
Might be
gonna
one.
shift
I'm gonna
around.
be thinking about this a lot. It's gonna annoy me.
Yep.
It's
Well,
gonna be multiple shifts.
we'll keep going. Grand Theft Auto 5 is on my list.
talked a bit about it before. It was an honourable mention of mine.
Yeah, so I won't harp on too much about it because I think we pretty much covered it all. Obviously, my first exposure to it was on the 360, and my latest exposure, well, I've got it on the PS5 now, so the PS5 version of it. So
2 generations.
that's 2 generations of GTA 5, and you just have to look at our channel, our Monday nights. You know, when we first started the show, and then, you know, once we first started the channel, there's a lot of GTA 5 content with that, and it just shows the fun factor. I'm just trying to figure out where this is going. Got this wrong, so just making a quick shuffle. So this should be here. That's there. That's there. Yeah, that's okay. Well, good. Next up, Simpsons Hit and Run.
Simpsons Hit and Run. That's one of my games. So that goes at the back of the list. That's my number 10. But it was kind of just cashing in on the GTA hype at the time, because it's sort of like a Simpsons GTA when you think about it. Oh, you've got the game here. But it's as much as it is just, you know, a licensed game. There's the Xbox version. We've got both
Two
here.
versions of it.
I'll have to track the GameCube version at some point.
Got a few different versions for some of these games, but yeah.
But as much as it is, yeah, just a licensed video game like that, it's still a really good one. The driving is actually, it's not bad. It's actually pretty good, but the thing that I love about it is the amount of references from previous episodes that they've hit in this game. Like, every level is just littered with references to different moments in the show. Like, there'd be too many to mention. But even there's like these collectible cards you can get in the game too, that they're like weird props that are just references to random episodes in the past. And yeah, played a hell of a lot of this game back in the day. So Simpsons Hit and Run.
And when you say like it's a Simpsons GTA, I mean that's what's making it even better. Like the Simpsons often parodies pop culture,
It works, yeah. That's
so it just fits it to a T. Like yeah, you know, you haven't really seen Springfield like that before, so good pick. That goes back there. 60 Mario Kart 64.
Oh, didn't realise that was on here too.
That's going to
That's
be
my list.
an honourable mention on mine.
I would like to put that in front of, 9. Yes.
MK64.
Yeah, I just remember playing this all the time growing up, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's the first kart game that like to add items and stuff, like to throw out other cars, and then started a whole bunch of other games like I think Crash Bandicoot came out with one, Sonic came out
Yep,
with
Mario
one.
Kart was like
Yeah.
set the standard.
The
Yeah.
pioneer, so to
Because
speak.
there was Super Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo, but you know, it was 2D. It wasn't really graphically there yet for what they could do. It was still a good game, but 64 just that opened up the door to everything else.
Yes, and yeah, just all the hidden shortcuts and yeah, just all the characters that you could be. Just yeah, it's great.
The multiplayer, the split screen, 4 screens. That's what make a lot of those games back around that era. That's what makes it fun. Is just the local multiplayer that you don't really experience these days. The fun factor behind all of that.
Yeah, one of my favourite memories of this game is us playing it. So we had an emulator we used to play it on, and we had this setup where someone would be on a wireless like Logitech controller. Someone else would have a PC controller that's plugged in, and someone else would be on the keyboard. So like we're all playing with different controllers, doing split screen Mario Kart on a bloody monitor, but it was just that addictive. We couldn't get enough of it.
Yeah, I mean, and just look at the series that it spawned. Well, Super Mario Kart did it, but Mario Kart 64 really set the standard for the series to come, and Mario Kart 8 sort of just is sort of the GTA of Mario games at the moment.
It's a lot.
It's very cross-generational, but they're releasing new levels for it, so you know.
Oh.
Already got the first wave.
We'll have to present some of that on Gamepad. Haven't done yet. Alright, moving on. Majora's Mask is on my list.
Nice.
One,
Got my
two,
cartridge here.
3, 4. It sits there. Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask.
Whoa.
As legendary and as epic Ocarina was. I just really liked how the series just took a turn for the dark side,
Very dark.
and the countdown, the repeating, the sort of Groundhog Day sort of theme it had, and the character. I mean, the mask. If just bring that up to the screen again, if that's on there. Look how creepy that looks, and the Skull Kid in it.
The moon itself was creepy as
The
well.
moon, the little Skull Kid laugh.
Yeah.
That's a thing of nightmares. But it takes Zelda, our hero Link, and just takes him to this, this dark sort of
Unknown.
mirror world of
Yes.
Termina, and just puts him in a whole new environment. So, I guess a little criticism is a lot of the characters are the same, but then again, it is sort of like a mirror.
And it did come out like a year or so after Ocarina, so they probably saw it fitting.
Yeah, and a lot of the assets, I guess, were just crossed over. But like I said, if Ocarina was, the thing that I really liked how this series went to the dark side, so to speak.
Yeah. I've actually it'll be coming up again later, so I'll brush up a bit more when we get back to it there.
Next up, WWE or F No Mercy.
Alright, that's my game. And that one, I will just have to quickly reference where I had that, because I believe that one goes... Oh, actually, no, I should know. After Simpsons Hit and Run, but before Burnout.
Number 9. Oh, well, we'll find out.
Yeah. So, No Mercy, I still think it's the best wrestling game of all time. Firm N64 believer in the wrestling games. And yeah, No Mercy is just like the peak of all the Arcade N64 wrestling games, because you started with the WCW games, you get WrestleMania 2000, then you finally came with that. Massive roster. I think 2000s when it came out, so it's like WWF was on fire at that time. The roster's stacked. The championship mode, like the career mode that's in it, it's less of like a career mode, but more of like a storyline mode. And I'm pretty sure it was the first game to have any sort of major mode like that, and it was really awesome because some of the storylines that they did were ones that were actually happening on TV at the time. So, but yeah, No Mercy, it's just the ultimate wrestling game.
Yeah, I mean, it came out when, like you said, the WWE was on fire. Professional wrestling was like hitting it out the ballpark. So they really had to nail this game down, and oh boy, did they did. and that just, like we said before, it's the era of games where you just had 4 controllers plugged into the console, all sitting around and just beating the crap out of each other. So, yeah, No Mercy definitely deserves that spot there. Alright, now we've come up to, so
Okay, so we've got
let you explain this.
we've got dual games here, and yes, it does go there. So Ocarina, they're the 3DS covers, but we're actually just talking about the originals.
I also have Ocarina on mine.
Oh yeah,
Oh, you do
Yes.
too.
that's
Oh,
coming.
we could have done them all 3. Where
I
would,
might as well while we're talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
I
is-
put it in between Halo and COD. I put COD. Oh, actually, put COD behind Halo, and that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, so here it is here. Ocarina, and I just showed Majora before. We've got both of them here. Both these games, I think, are masterpieces. They're the best Zelda games. Some people tend to think they're a bit overrated these days, that they haven't aged quite as well. But all it takes is for me to do a playthrough of it, and I'm sucked right back in.
Yeah.
Because Ocarina's like, it was like the culmination of like a true 3D Zelda game, because it was the first one, and it's sort of got elements of some of the previous games, linked to the past, all that sort of stuff. But man, Ocarina of Time, it's like I played it for the first time when I was a kid, and just instantly got hooked on it.
Yeah.
And yeah, to this day, it's still that game I played for the first time back then.
And I just remember it being fun and challenging, very lengthy, and like there's a whole bunch of huge bosses and a whole bunch of mini bosses. Like it's just, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Memorable dungeons,
Yeah, I was
memorable
gonna say-
characters,
the dungeons,
the music.
The music was, yeah, the soundtrack was phenomenal.
you know, I think we all enjoy a good game that challenges you, and definitely it does challenge you. But not to the point where it frustrates the heck out of you, because it
Yeah.
definitely doesn't do that.
Nowadays, I'll play through the whole game without dying, but
And I really like how interactive it is, like the water and the lava and like all that stuff.
yeah,
Definitely the environments as well,
Yeah.
like the contrasting environments where you go to Zura's Domain, and you go up to Gerudo Valley full of lava.
Definitely a classic.
if there's one thing that both these games, because I'll mention a bit about Majora too. Majora is basically like yin to Ocarina's yang, like it's light and dark. Majora's Mask just has like
Dark elements.
the perfect atmosphere, the perfect dark atmosphere. Everything from the soundtrack to the characters. Some of the actual events that go down are like surprisingly dark. There's the whole side quest where you meet the 2 girls out at the ranch, and basically the little girl doesn't realise the moon's crashing, so the older sister lets her drink the milk to sort of go to sleep and pass through the morning. And it's just like some of that stuff was just kind of crazy when you think about it. But yeah, crazy game. But Ocarina and Majora, I can't separate them. That's why I've put them both here at the same spot. So that's where I'll leave them.
Alright, next up, Minecraft.
Yes.
That's on you two lists. Your
Yes.
2 use list, I don't know how to say it, but it's on your list. So, where we're dropping,
I would put Minecraft, I think, behind All Stars in front of Smash.
so that's going
Yeah.
there.
Mine would be after Burnout, so before Street Fighter. Yeah.
Alright, how's about Minecraft? Why is it there?
It's there because it's been out for over 10 years and we still play it to this day.
Yeah, and Minecraft only needed one game
And there's
to last that long. Yeah.
we still haven't run out of things to do in it.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
we did dip into Minecraft for the first time on the channel. It'll be months ago now, and that was probably my first run in survival mode.
So yeah, because we played a lot of creative.
Yeah, I was going to say the
Original.
creative mode. We actually went and used like real life influences and built this sort of shared world. And the amount of our people that we know that contribute to this world was.
That's the thing, yeah. It's like it's a game that literally anyone can all like play together in some way.
And everyone just sort of focuses on doing their own thing and trying to really build the perfect thing.
It's a game that really brings everyone together.
And you could spend a lot of hours on this game and not know it.
That's right. It's a
Yeah.
good time.
I still don't know everything about this game.
Good time.
Time does not exist when you play this game.
And it's just so calm. Like you just be chipping away to this calming music, and then before you realise, it's midnight and beyond.
I will say,
There's an Enderman behind you.
my experience with this game is on multiple consoles, but one I'm very fond of is back when it originally launched on mobile devices. We had Minecraft Pocket Edition, and we're talking like this game was so basic. Like the strongest weapon you could make was like stone. There was only zombies, no torches, no beds. It was just an extremely basic game. Like you play it now, and it's practically the full game on mobile, which is crazy. But man, I spent so many hours playing that Pocket Edition, and then the 360 version that came out. I'm pretty sure everyone I know had that game. And yeah, so now here we are playing it on the Xbox One to this day.
So yeah, that's Minecraft. And of course it did spawn a franchise as well. A few spin-offs, some hit and miss, but
It was
yeah.
supposed to get a movie too.
Mm.
That was supposed to come out this year, according to the original announcements. Unfortunately, we
Still
didn't
on
get
its
that.
way, I guess. Super Smash Bros. Melee.
Melee, so that's my game. And that's number one. Put it right at the top. It's what I said about Ultimate before with Smash. I do think Ultimate is like the bigger and slightly better game, but we're talking about favourites. Melee is just king for me. It's I just love how it plays. Everything from the movement, it just feels so unrestricted. You're free to do a lot of things. There's a lot of techniques in the game that players discovered, and you'll see in tournaments and all that kind of stuff. And it's just an addictive game to play at a high level. Like I can literally sit there and spend hours just playing against the computer, doing combos and whatever. And yeah, the roster, it's only got about 26 characters, but the characters that we do get, we had some characters we didn't see return for a little while too. Like we had Mewtwo and Roy from Fire Emblem. Same with Pichu. Yeah, it was the first Smash game to have a sort of adventure mode, which was sort of similar to what we got in Brawl, just a bit scaled back. But yeah, at the time it was originally going to be the final Smash game, which they ended up making like 3 more, so that never really panned out. But yeah, Melee, what a game.
I mean, when you say like 26 characters, but for its time, I mean that's pretty big. And when you think about the Melee community, it's very much alive and well, isn't it?
See, the game came out in 2001. It's still one of the biggest. It survives every other Smash game release. It's still got a dedicated player base.
And a very dedicated competitive scene still to this day as well. Yes, Melee. Up next, Star Wars Battlefront 2, the original, the Xbox.
That is mine, and I'm putting that at number 1. So I just love it.
Star Wars Battlefront.
Yeah, with this game, there is just so much you can do. You could do capture the flag. There's just so many different mods. You can play multiplayer and do all those mods. Campaign. You could, go to different planets. When it first came out, the graphics was amazing, and I believe it's one of the best Star Wars games ever.
Definitely one of the most highest grossing too. It was selling a bucket load of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, the game modes had this. We actually played
Yes, we did.
during the Festival of Star Wars. We played a bit of Galactic Conquest.
With Levon and Kamani.
You probably ended up on the bad end of the stick to that one.
You can guess who my teammate was.
But
Come on.
again, that's what it's about. It's about plugging 4 controllers in and just letting loose in that era of video games. And that's the fun factor behind it. The heroes and villains mode.
Yeah.
You're pitting heroes and villains against each other playing as Yoda. All the heroes, they're Yoda, Vader, Mace Windu, Grievous, Dooku. some characters that don't see again in the it's not a remake, but
The newer Battlefront.
reboot. Yeah, reboot.
Yeah, I feel like they failed us. I was very disappointed when that came out. I feel like the newer one does not live up to this masterpiece at all.
And it's like the main game mode of the original Battlefront about capturing command posts, and that it really sets it apart from the other what would we say, like war shooters of the time.
At the time, yeah. Well, it's a third-person shooter too, so well, you could switch, but
Yeah.
it really did play different. And there's not many shooters that had like when you play as the Jedi, it's a completely different gameplay style.
So yeah, good game, and it did have an online mode as well. So ticks all boxes there. But that's Star Wars Battlefront 2. All right, next up I see 2 Golden Eyes.
Mm-hmm. They belong to us.
So I'll just drop them there, and then what's the placement now?
I would put mine behind Super Smash Bros. And put. I feel like I should put Super Smash Bros. Behind. Yeah, put Super Smash Bros. Behind 007.
As for me, GoldenEye, I did have a placement set, but I'm really thinking about this now because I've put a lot of hours into this game. GoldenEye is my favourite James Bond movie, so it only just helps in that department too. GoldenEye goes... I think it goes in front of Minecraft.
I'm going to be reshuffling.
Although, yes, we still have room to...
There's still room at the end of the
Yeah.
once we complete
Actually,
this,
I'll-
but there's only one more to go.
Okay, let's just talk about GoldenEye first. GoldenEye is sort of a weird one because it came out like 2 years after the movie did. Like it came out the same year that Tomorrow Never Dies did. So the movie was already, come and gone by that point, but it managed to go on to be one of the biggest selling N64 games of all time. Outlived, the movie in terms of like its staying power.
And it's yeah. I would say this was our COD before COD.
Yes, because
This was something that made a lot of people very competitive when it came to shooting games. Just being as good as it was.
before this game, like there weren't really many options for first-person shooters on consoles. Like I'm struggling to think of one off the top of my head. It was all PC, so PC had games like Doom, Wolfenstein, Quake, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, here comes GoldenEye, and it's to this day its influences are still seen in other shooting games. Because it follows the movie, it actually makes the story and sort of the plot enjoyable. And one of my favourite details about this game is how accurately some of the sets are recreated in it. Like you play the facility level after you come down the stairs from dropping through the toilet. You take a look at the first like hallway down the set of stairs. It's literally shot for shot recreation of the film. Same goes for like the room where the gas tanks are, the dam itself, the boat, and the helicopter. Like all that stuff, it's just so faithfully recreated. Even the big antenna cradle thing was pretty cool too. There's the VHS tape we've got here in the studio. And yeah, that multiplayer had so many different game modes. One of my favourites was Slappers Only, where you couldn't use guns, you just had to run around and do that karate chop.
Which is a Bond move, like that's what he does in movies.
Golden Gun, that was always a blast. But yeah, and actually I will say too, one of my favourite things about playing this game was the fact that you unlock the cheat codes by speed running the levels on all the various difficulties. That was like, whenever I completed one of those, that was a massive achievement. Especially the ones that were on the harder difficulties, because like they weren't easy.
When you think about it, games in general, they don't usually reward you for speed running things, so that was that's unique in its time.
Yeah,
The music as well. Some of
Yeah,
the-
soundtrack.
Grant Kirkhope, who was a composer at Rareware, which I should mention that too. Rare made the game. There's so many classic games they made back in the 90s. Banjo Kazooie was one of my honorable mentions, but they're also responsible for Donkey Kong 64, Perfect Dark, Diddy Kong Racing, you know, all those sort of games. So it's like any genre they went for, they nailed, and GoldenEye was like, you know, the perfect shooter at the time.
Rumours are swirling around the online community of a remaster.
A remaster that was apparently finished well over a decade ago. Originally meant to come out on the 360 shop, but it didn't. It got leaked a few years ago, and so it seems like they're finally coming around to pulling the trigger on it. So fingers crossed.
See what happens. I would imagine though it'll probably be like the Perfect Dark remaster thing they did.
Yeah.
So you know, nothing too groundbreaking like the Wii version of the GoldenEye, the remake
That's
of
a
the Daniel
different
Craig
story.
one. Different kettle of fish. And rounding off the list, your list, Sonic
Final game for
Adventure.
me, Sonic Adventure for the Dreamcast. I have to mention that it's for the Dreamcast because there's a whole story about every time they ported it to a new console, it actively got worse and worse, glitchier and buggier. So yeah, Sonic Adventure goes before Street Fighter, so it's dead in the middle. And if you know my taste in games, you'd probably think this is a really weird one because I've never been a Sonic fan really that much in the past. I did used to play the Genesis or the Mega Drive games when I was little, but other than that, I was not a Sonic fan. I actually sort of disliked the character back when I used to play Smash Brothers Brawl because it was the whole Sonic vs Mario thing. But yeah, I've really embraced the series over the last year and a half or so, and Sonic Adventure is just I think it's one of my favourite games that I've played for the first time in the last couple of years. It's sort of a weird game. Like, it's got 6 playable characters that each have their own individual story that all revolves around one like major story. So they're all just different perspectives of the same events, and which is pretty crazy to do back in '99 when the game launched. There weren't many other games doing that, but everything from like the gameplay, it's a little janky going back to it now. It definitely does still have its fair share of glitches, but I can look past those. The levels are fun. The music's like 10 out of 10. I couldn't believe how good the music was in this game. I think if I heard the music as a kid, it would have made me want to play the games. So yeah, Sonic Adventure goes at number 5.
Cool, and I think there are plans to bring it to the channel as a playthrough as well, so keep an eye out for that. But we've put our games on our lists. There is now time, what we'll do is take this time to have one final look at it, and if you want to reshuffle it,
Double check my list here.
Yeah, mine's definitely going to be reshuffled.
and one thing, like I said, so for me, Battlefront 2 is an adventure of mine, Ocarina of Time is,
We both have it too.
GoldenEye,
Our GoldenEye and Minecraft are just swaps of each other.
I'm going to be moving it down though.
Alright, so who's going to be making some moves?
I'll let you go first.
Okay. I want Mario 64 last. I would like 007 to be second last. I would like Mario All-Stars to be behind Super Smash Bros. Yep. I would like Halo to be second. And I would like Minecraft. Yeah, I would like Minecraft to be behind Super Smash Bros. And I think that is my list.
Nice. I'm gonna make a couple adjustments here. I'm gonna put No Mercy in front of Burnout 3. I'm I'm gonna put Minecraft in front of GoldenEye because I was just raving about it, but you know, Minecraft is Minecraft. And I think I'm gonna put. Should I shift it? I think I'm gonna put Hit and Run in front of Burnout. So Burnout is 10. And as of right now, oh, actually, I know I just changed it, but GoldenEye, I'm gonna swap that back. It's so hard, but I'm gonna leave it at that.
That's why if you looked at the threshold of how I think that'd be very, very small.
I want to make one more adjustment. I would like my GoldenEye to be in front of Grand Theft Auto. Yeah, I think that's only fair.
My list is locked in.
We've got GoldenEye. Oh, it's been behind us this whole time. On the shelf.
Yeah!
List
having my
are
list.
locked in. So this is at the time of filming, so it's just the start of June 2022. And so this is the list that we've compiled together of our top 10 at this point in time. Will it change next week?
Yeah,
Probably.
Tune in next week when it's completely different.
But you know, this is just, you know, we picked 10 games and this is where they land. So my list, I guess we'll just go through our list just one last time, just go through them. So Smash Bros, 2K19, Marvel Spider-Man, the PS exclusive, Mercenaries, Grand Theft Auto 5, Uncharted 4, Majora's Mask, Mass Effect 2, KOTOR, Knights of the Old Republic that is, who I would make honourable mention, Knights of the Republic 2. I don't think I talked about it when I presented this game, but the second game is not as well. The first game did good, obviously, and the sequel is almost just as good than The Last of Us. So that's my list. So I've got a few PS exclusives on there. Yeah, if you look at it, like their PlayStation exclusive, that's a Nintendo exclusive. These two, this one, that one, and that one for a very long time was an Xbox exclusive. Then it jumped to PC, and now it's on the Switch. So that's my list.
Yeah, and mine is Mario Kart 64, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, 007 GoldenEye on Nintendo 64, Super Mario All-Stars on Super Nintendo, Minecraft on Xbox, Super Mario Bros. Ultimate, COD 4 Modern Warfare, Zelda Ocarina of Time, Halo, and Star Wars Battlefront. I feel like I have a nice balance. I do have one PlayStation game on there, a few Nintendos, and yeah, Xbox. I feel like it's a really good balance.
Yep, so yeah, then I'll wrap up my list. So Burnout 3 at 10, Simpsons Hit and Run at 9, No Mercy, Minecraft, GoldenEye, Sonic Adventure 1, Hyper Street Fighter 2, Mario Odyssey, Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask in the shared spot for number 2, and Smash Brothers Melee. And like TJ was just saying there, it's you can sort of see my influences. There's a lot of Nintendo in there. The beginning, sort of the first few, I've got a couple PS2 games on there because that was another big console. Probably the one I played the most actually as a very young age. So yeah, there's a bit of variety, but there's a lot of Nintendo in mine.
And you're the only one that features a Dreamcast game as well. And part of the reason that is because
We never had one.
we never had a Dreamcast until very recently when you've had a Dreamcast 2 collection.
Sonic Adventure.
Oh, right.
Because it was a Sega, well, yeah, Sonic was still Sega exclusive by that point.
So what is our earliest game that we've got collectively listed? This is just
As
general
in,
conversation now.
As in, like, the oldest game,
I feel
Yeah.
like All-Stars.
All Stars,
All Stars, yeah, definitely. That would have been
94 or something like
Yeah.
that, 93.
and probably the most recent
It's 93.
release.
The most recent one, I'd probably say
Has to be Spider-Man
Spider-Man or Uncharted.
or Odyssey.
I
Odyssey's
think Spider-Man.
17.
Spider-Man's new one,
Spider-Man, I
Odyssey.
think, was 18.
I think.
But anyway, this is just general chat.
I
Because
think,
yeah, Uncharted 4. That's quite a
Is Breath of the Wild on anyone's honorable mention?
Breath of the Wild.
No, I didn't honourable.
No.
Although, hot take is that as much as I enjoy it, it's not up there in the Zelda games for me.
I think with in Breath of the Wild's case, it's the replayability isn't there for it. Because once you play through it, it's remarkable. It's amazing.
If you're the type of player that wants to search out the map for every nook and cranny, like it's a perfect game. But if you're someone who's in it for the story, once you beat it, there's not much else to get you going.
Yeah, it's not really a redraw of the story narrative. And one thing also, an apparent lack, just to finish off on, there's a very big lack of Fortnite on anybody's list.
I did consider it. I did consider giving
I
it
did
an honourable
consider
mention.
it as well, because
We've been
we
playing
play
it.
that a lot.
Yeah, you know what? Honourable mention.
Honourable-
Shout out to Fortnite.
Shout out to Fortnite. It's a game that we play. We squad up on, catch us live Monday nights.
Yeah, and we go to bed angry every night.
It is frustrating.
Unless we win.
as well.
Unless we win.
But let's just talk about Fortnite. I mean, the amount of cross-promotional stuff that they do with other franchises
It's up there with
is up
Smash.
there.
Yes. Oh, maybe it is.
I wouldn't put it past Smash just yet, because if you're talking different brands and IPs, like there's a lot of crossover, but Nintendo, there's a lot of crossover within their own games.
And I will say for Fortnite, with the crossover, they're just skins. Whereas
Yeah,
the
it's-
crossover and Smash, they're actually bringing like elements of their gameplay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas Fortnite, it's just like they're just cosmetic. They don't give you any advantage at all. Not to say that
It's not
anything and everything is almost in Fortnite as a skin now or as something.
Bruno Mars can
Viral
get it.
dance moves.
It's Twitch streamers, Chico, and Ninja.
YouTubers.
Yeah, they're all in there. So don't lose hope if you're hoping to get a skin into Fortnite. But anyways, we will leave it at that. That's our snapshot of the list. Yeah, like we said, it was probably going to change next week, but we'll just leave that there, and maybe we'll check in. Maybe this might be like a 6-month thing or something here on the channel, but we'll leave it at that for now. So if you like the video, leave the thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. We constantly make Tiermaker lists on topics, whatever they came up. So yeah, don't forget to hit the notification bell to stay up to date with all the latest videos and the next time we come your way. But for now, it is goodbye.